Welcome back to Gear Check Games. This is episode 2 of Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance. I'm Trey. Again, I'm joined by Joe, Dan, and our guest Trent.
Hello.
Welcome to Norfair.
And what an honor it is to be here in Norfair.
Wow, you perfectly timed up that standing still for the intro and then moving when it ended.
Yeah, man. Also, one thing I will point out before anyone... Oh, God. Already I'm taking damage.
Just decked right in the face.
One thing I'll point out before... so anyway...
Not if that enemy has anything to say about it.
I love the music here.
Oh, yeah.
And all Norfair music is good music.
Yeah, dude. The Brawl version. Oh, my God. It's so funky.
Yeah.
The original Metroid just has a fantastic soundtrack, like GBA or NES. Like, I know it's no news to you guys, but
oh God!
Beautiful.
Well, air horns in my ears.
Well played, sir.
You're supposed to. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, by all means.
You're supposed to get that missile upgrade.
The evil has been done already.
You're supposed to get that missile upgrade with the next upgrade we're about to get here in about 5 minutes. The power grip.
Mm-hmm.
But I got it early.
Yeah. Because I'm Samus Aran's son.
We did mention that, like, power grip is one of the big ones where it's just like, you could go through the game without it, almost entirely, but it certainly helps.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, there's also a little shortcut here if you could do single block wall jumps, and just, you get blocked by those blocks, but you could just wall jump, upwards to the left and be like, oh, bam, see ya.
You say that, Trent, but I try to get some wall jumps here in a minute, and you're gonna laugh. And it's bad.
I typically try to keep myself from laughing at those less capable than myself. Everyone starts
wow.
Telling it like it is, eh?
Oh yeah, there was one attempt at a wall jump. Didn't work.
See, this is why... Oh, God. This is why we have Trent here.
We need to go
We're going through the game, and he's like... So, fun fact, actually, you see that little pixel up there? If you reverse wall jump and frame-perfect morph ball through this pixel, then you can actually skip, like, a third of the game. And I'm just over here hearing Trey talking about the power grip and just thinking of Samus action figure, now with Kung Fu grip.
If that exists, I need it.
You squeeze her little shoulder balls and it, like, clenches her hand.
Oh my God! Is it like a rubber Samus? Oh my gosh! It's kind of
rubber Samus.
It's like a Stretch Armstrong.
Chicken. It's like one of those
later on
chickens you'd squeeze and it would squeak.
Just stretch out her gun arm.
The Kung Fu grip is actually, her hand doesn't do anything. It's made of plastic, but her gun, like, contracts.
Oh man!
To like squeeze whatever's in it.
Sounds like a quality toy right there.
Later on,
action figure.
Later on, you'll see a cutscene with a space pirate talking to Ridley, and he's got Samus brand shoes on. And he's like, "I'm trying to defeat the hunter, and you're wearing her merchandise."
Yeah, it was a really inspired choice to cast James Woods as Ridley.
So
honestly, perfect cast.
Or at least it was at the time this game came out.
So here's the thing, Trey, with you and your wall jumps. You certainly have the skill, so like in where you doing that there of, wall jumping up one wall, plus additionally getting out of that little water pit was not, that's not how you were supposed to do it, but that was a rather impressively tight wall jump to get out.
Yeah, like I get the mechanic, but I'm just like not a master at it. Oh yeah, I'm about to try again to jump up these stupid platforms. That's my worst enemy in this game.
Yeah, if ever I use the wall jump to any like effective degree, it always has to be very like premeditated. Like I can't do it on the fly like Trey was doing earlier. I have to be
Joe
like,
was
okay.
sent to the gulag for premeditated wall jumps.
It's wall jumping time.
And so at this part, I actually kind of want to mention something we mentioned previously about the kind of the silent tutorial that you were given when you got bombs. game and most Metroid games in general are really, really awesome at doing those little tutorials. So like even this room here in and of itself is a microcosm tutorial.
Yeah, it really is.
So if you fall down this ledge and you cannot get back up until you have physically grabbed the power-up grip, this introduces how the mechanic works.
Taunting that statue, eh?
And then it sends you through a gauntlet of, you're going to try and get up here. Now Trey might just, wall jump his way
God, I'm gonna bypass it, yeah.
Oh no, he's hit the lip.
This is the reinforcement of the mechanic that it just gave you by forcing you to do it repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
also, this music from Prime 1.
Yeah, well, actually, it's not from Prime 1, but the composer for this game was Kenji Yamamoto, who also did the soundtrack for Prime 1.
That's what I meant.
He was one of the composers, anyway. I get what you mean, though. It totally sounds like Prime music, just like with bit crush
it sounds
samples.
like the Chozo Ruins. Which,
My favorite theme in Super
this...
Metroid is the lava level theme from Prime 1.
Oh, yes.
Magmore Caverns.
Good old Lower Norfair.
Lower Norfair.
Both of you.
Hey, it's an iconic song, and the version of it that is in Samus Returns is actually really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a remix, but it's remixed extremely well in my opinion.
Well, that
That's
version made.
I think my favorite theme from Super is probably Lower Meridia, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's a tight track.
Or not Lower Brinstar.
Oh
Meridia
yeah,
is the.
Meridia is
I
the
also really like
underwater.
Meridia. Yeah, I also really like Meridia, but
It's just
Lower Brinstar is the lava. Lower Norfair is that the kind of
Lower
watery.
Norfair is Magmore Caverns.
Okay,
Yeah,
Lower
yeah.
Norfair. Wow. See, this is why we have Trent on the show.
Joe could
Are you thinking of the red soil area, like on the way to Kraid?
Oh,
Yeah, Red Soil, I think, was what I was thinking of.
that's a good track.
Yeah, this is so good, in fact, that they brought it back in Prime 2 for the
one that
lower
goes,
Torvus Bog.
Yep, that would have been
yeah.
lower Brinstar, so you were correct initially.
Yeah, man,
Okay,
that
I was
song
correct
rocks.
initially. And I
least
second
I
guessed
think-
myself, as I do. I also Torvus Bog might be my favorite track from Prime 2.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That better be where I pick up Spider Ball, because I've run into 1,000,000 Spider Ball tracks already.
I'm pretty man.
Anywho, what are we looking for now, Trey?
Let's see, the last thing I picked up was the Power Grip. I think the next thing I'm supposed to get is High Jump, I think?
Nope. Ice Beam.
Well, after we get these missiles.
But I gotta get out of Norfair.
Oh yeah, you get the Ice Beam like weirdly early in this game.
Yeah, which is
the
like,
Ice
wait...
Beam is actually here in Norfair with you.
Oh, is this one of the points I get lost? I do get lost several times in this run, and I kind of forget where they're at, so I'm kind of along for the ride now.
The one
Inside
time,
Baseball.
The one time I ever beat Metroid 1 on the NES, I played the entire game like... I wanted to make it fun and not just like, obligatory. So I didn't use a guide for it. I like made my own like physical map in a notebook and like found everything myself. Up until I got both Kraid and Ridley killed, and I still didn't have the Ice Beam. Spoiler alert for the final area of this game, Torian, the Ice Beam is very helpful to have there.
Yes.
So that was like the one thing I looked up in my original Metroid playthrough. But and yeah, so it was like the last thing I found before going to Torian.
Oh man. The original Metroid was also another one of the ones where it's just like questionable whether or not certain upgrades were even necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Varia suit could almost just be thought of as, a completely optional upgrade with how powerful it was in the first game. Just by cutting enemy damage in half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't even have the heat protection property that it has in this one. It was just double defense.
Yep. So
it's kind of an interesting approach to game design, because like with this one, like they accounted for speedrunners and sequence breakers, but like fundamentally you are intended to like go through the game in the intended order your first time. Whereas with the original Metroid, it's just like you find what you find.
Yeah, no, the original Metroid was definitely the first one, and just like, we're gonna toss you in a world. Go have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe they described it as a cross between Mario's side-scrolling and Zelda's exploration.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the original Metroid, and this is also an issue I have with Zelda 1, I really like the idea of a game just throwing you in a world without giving you any direction, and you just have to figure things out for yourself, and, like, figure out how to progress on your own. Did I mention by yourself?
Yes.
But
Solitary.
So that's obviously something that old games like Metroid and Zelda 1, they do it. But the unfortunate thing particularly with NES games, is that unfortunately, because of the hardware description or hardware limitations and all that, those games also kind of often have really samey looking environments throughout that make it hard to navigate and to know where you've been and where you are going.
Sure.
Which is why the map system in, Super was such a revolutionary thing. Like, it was the one biggest thing that's just like, if we had to go back to Metroid 1, please give us a map. Oh,
yeah.
Give us a map.
Yeah. So
well, there's actually I've been hearing rumblings, and by which I mean for like the last couple of years, of a fan hack of the original Metroid called Metroid Mother, which is like a complete overhaul of that game, and one of the many like quality of life improvements they include is a map.
Yes.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of it.
Although for my money, it's not like I enjoyed making my own map. Like, certainly it's not the ideal experience. I wouldn't expect everyone to do that, but like,
there was a charm to it.
For me, the big barrier of entry in the original Metroid is that you start with 30 health upon dying, and you have to grind it all back. Like, the ratio of damage you take from enemies to damage you recover from pickups is like so skewed that it literally takes like 20 minutes to grind yourself back up to full health. And if you're like new to the game and starting, your first playthrough, you're going to want to be at full health, because Metroid is a hard game.
Oh, yeah. So, not to interrupt, reminiscing about Metroid 1, but there was just a mini tutorial for Ice Beam just there, and I skipped it.
Oh, yeah.
Except for you're now also on
this
this
fish
refinement
eggs environment
phase where it forces you to do it again. So that is one of the beautiful things, is like you can typically skip the like initial mechanic introduction, but then you do also have just the refinement area.
Yeah.
Well, to go back to
zoomer.
aesthetics, this environment here is derived from the original Metroid, but just the the increased hardware of the GBA really allowed for them to really distinguish the different areas of this game and make it easier to navigate just based on like room shape and.
Yeah, visual design is so important for games with just navigation and knowing your way.
Because the original Metroid literally just like we're in the area we're about to visit. In the area we're going to head to for our next objective, Kraid. In the NES version, it's literally just like a big vertical shaft with like 3 copies of the same exact hallway on either side of it.
Yeah, and I think I heard that there was like one room layout that's copied like 7 times or something.
Yeah, it is like
the original Metroid.
Like, I can't fault him too much because, I don't know what it was like to program games for the NES, but like, from a player's perspective, that is less than enjoyable, to say the least.
Oh yeah, here's a missile tank upgrade I didn't know about until this playthrough.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's another thing I really. One thing that I really enjoy about the Metroid games is there's a huge variety in the power-ups, with like complex puzzles and just some that are in the way and some that are just far enough out of the way that you might miss them, but they're right there.
Eat your heart out, Mario Odyssey.
I've heard that this game has some of the some of like the most in-depth upgrade puzzles in the series. I I've never tried to 100% it myself, mainly just because you need to get so deep into the game before you can even like go for most of the upgrades. But some of the ones I have encountered, like, I still have no idea to this day. Like, there's one in Brinstar where you have to, like, shine spark the morph ball through, like, a tiny passage. And I mean, I think, like, if I was doing it, I would understand what I was supposed to do. But, like, mechanically, I just can't handle it at my current skill level.
Yeah, I remember there was a power-up like that in Fusion that I could not for the life of me figure out how to get the shine spark all the way over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This game takes a lot of puzzle inspiration from Fusion, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same engine.
There is also another one in this that is, it's another shine spark puzzle, but it's like you have like 6 frames to do a jump, and it's pretty tight timing for casual players. Like, it's a tight timing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing we're pro players.
I know, right?
I don't want to go that far. Amateur, hopeful, stars in my eyes, baby.
Aspiring professional
I mean,
gamer.
speak for yourself. I know how to activate Samus's kung fu grip.
He's got the action figure. He's an expert.
An expert.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I do have the Samus Returns amiibo here. The amount of detail in it is actually pretty astonishing.
Oh, did you get the squishy Metroid amiibo too?
Yes.
The squishy Samus amiibo with the kung fu grip.
Oh my god. It does exist.
Cuddle grip.
We're making it a reality.
Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah, I do, and this actually it's just right here as well. I was really surprised at the quality of the amiibos. I thought they were going to be a lot more toy-like than they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, your mileage may vary with amiibo. Like, you know, there are some of them that are really nice. I think it kind of depends on the complexity of the character design.
That's true.
Although I guess that doesn't explain the quality of the Samus one.
So speaking of Samus amiibos, do you think development for Prime 4 got restarted because the original team had no idea what Metroid was, and Miyamoto just walked into the room where they were working on the new Metroid, and he saw that they were making some, like, gritty action game based off of the factory defect Samus amiibo model,
where she has
with
guns.
2 cannons for hands.
Oh man.
Oh my god. How would they
Mega
know?
Man squared.
I can see the cover art now. It's just Samus like stepping on a Metroid, shooting like 2 guns at just aliens surrounding her.
Cover.
It's like the xenomorphs from Alien.
Oh my lord.
But yeah, secret upgrade up here.
Yeah.
Nice.
A secret upgrade down there too? Or just a
no, this is actually a transitionary room.
Oh my god. It always blows my mind when you're like, you feel like you're like way off the beaten path, and then you go one screen to the left and you're just like in the side of a chasm where there's like no visible opening.
Yeah. That's why these games are great.
Mm-hmm. Discovery.
Great.
But get this, I don't take advantage of it. I go off the beaten path.
Oh.
Also,
Exploration.
I get a little lost.
It's okay. Well, it wouldn't be a Metroid game without a little bit of getting lost.
Well, I think I do get 1 treasure upgrade, so that's good for the grade boss.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up on the next episode.
Yeah.
I'm a pro gamer. I go off the beaten path. By the way, guys, I think I might be lost.
Don't call the police or anything, but
Give it take. Hey, these guys are nothing now that we have Ice Beam.
yeah, man.
Right, because those are quote unquote the, I can't remember when they transition over, but they're not the metal shriek bats that you've fought in the first corridor. Those are the ones that actually spawned before that. So they are, quote unquote normal level enemies.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, that
The game's giving us some mercy.
I think that the robot thing that lifted itself up so you could morph ball under it earlier didn't do it this time.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Do you have to activate it, or is it just
You do have to activate it.
Okay.
Well, I hit
Because I thought it was
again.
a weird thing, like, oh, you have the ledge grab now, so we're not making a path for you anymore. but then like you couldn't get through it without the ledge grab earlier either. Well, I mean, I guess you probably could because you had morph ball bombs before that, but.
So did you say you're going for secrets now, or are you gonna do a sequence break or something?
I'm doing a little bit of exploration.
Okay.
And trying to get upgrades, but yeah, there's one upgrade.
Because if memory serves, we're on the way to the Varia suit, or we're in like the neighborhood of the Varia suit.
Yes.
This is the area that has it.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a little better at ice shotting and wall jumping, I could get Varia suit right now. But I don't have high jump, so it's a little difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, God help you if you. God help you if you fall down there.
Yeah, he is in the area for it, and he has the necessary equipment to get it, but not the intended equipment to get it.
Yeah. High jump makes this way easier.
Because in the room to the left, Varia is above this room.
Yeah.
And you can have that Ripper. Actually, that's not a Ripper. I can't remember the name of that enemy in particular.
Stripper.
Close enough. You
Bikini
can
Ripper.
bait him into going up with some well-timed bombs that allow him to pass through that wall, and then freeze him and get up high. But otherwise, you would need high jump.
Mm.
You ever tried high jump? Dirty Bill makes his appearance.
Oh my god.
We were waiting for it.
Hey, that's my thing, man. It's copyrighted.
What if they made a 2D Metroid-inspired game for Duke Nukem? And they replaced the Rippers with strippers.
Duke Nukem started as a 2D platformer.
That's
did
true,
it really?
Did.
Yeah.
What system?
It was like Contra.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Metroid-style game.
Was it like a DOS game, or...?
I think it was a SNES game, I think?
I know there were Duke Nukem games on the PC.
Yeah. That was like his main
both
area.
first-person and side-scrolling platformers.
Oh yeah, Treasure Time.
Yeah, this is another one. This is a secret little area that only had a small outcropping, but it's just enough to bait players into going and looking for things, and thus get rewarded with extra resources, which on hard mode, Trey desperately needs.
Oh god, yes.
Man,
and there's
designing good video game levels sounds like such a hard thing to do.
Yep. That's why I don't do the levels, I do the characters.
Yeah.
And what Trey wanted to mention there was there's also a tease of the super missiles. They show you a canister for it, well beyond where you can initially get it.
Yeah, and the original Metroid did not have super missiles.
a
welcome
have
addition.
Speed booster for that one.
You gotta be careful.
Grabbing.
You gotta be careful aiming them, but they can definitely make bosses go a lot faster.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, if you sequence break, the upcoming boss, obviously Trey doesn't have any super missiles because he hasn't been sequence breaking, but if you can get super missiles before Kraid, and if you have them before Kraid is a pushover. Well done.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Simply marvelous.
What's that meme
She's a
from
fan
again?
of Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls.
Oh, I thought that was...
I just remember there was a... I played MAG for the PS3, and it had like 3 different teams, and one of the teams, their motto was improvise, adapt, overcome. They were like themed after the Green Berets.
And in this episode of Metroid Zero Mission, Samus drinks her own piss.
I like the little guy in the wall. Like,
She has to find out what it tastes like to eat a zoomer.
Yes.
Once you get past all the spikes.
I like those little guys holding up your platforms.
I love this music so much, but the part's about to end, so I'll talk about that next time.
Well, I let the entire track play, so...
Oh, yes! Great,
so we'll just sit
beautiful.
here and enjoy the wall pickles.
Yes.
Right.
One of the many beautiful touches included in this remake.
So one of the things I want to call back to that we were talking about earlier is this game definitely has a very unique sense of styling for every single area. Kraid is a lot more organic of an area, so like things will look more bulbous and rounded compared to Ridley, which had far more straight lines and more of a not mechanical looking, but like structured.
Ridley's more of like a ruinous looking area, whereas this is more like having an old like factory or research lab overrun by pickles.
The dreaded pickles.
Pickles aren't too far off from the enemy that he's about to face.
Little known fact: the
pickle.
Chozo were not killed off by Metroids, but
Okay.
the reality was a little too embarrassing, so they had to change it for the history.
Wonder Samus gun, form of fork.
Pickle.
Good night,
Thanks for
everybody.
joining us.
Good night.
Bye.